Hey everybody, this week on Xtreme Lyfe, I have Jennie Nedell, kickboxing champion. She is awesome. She's an awesome person, awesome human, a lot of fun to talk to. I really enjoyed our conversation. I'm happy to share it with everybody. Check it out. I know you're going to love it. And here you go, Xtreme Lyfe.
On behalf of your host, Steve D, this is Bruce Buffer saying thank you for tuning in to Xtreme Lyfe. And now, this is the moment Xtreme Lyfe fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. You got a really kind of an interesting career. I mean, you got 28. As I'm looking at it, you got 28 amateur victories and 4 losses in amateur fighting, 14 professional victories, and you fought for glory. I mean, what got you into this? What got you started? Or what made you want to fight? Because I love talking to fighters because I'm a big combat sports guy myself. I love it. I'm very involved in it. And I just love to hear what makes people tick.
If you're into it now, I mean, once you get into it, it's like a drug. You're addicted at that point. I've always been an athlete. I did junior Olympic softball, so I was always pretty active, but a very fat kid. My diet was horrible. I mean, drinking, the whole nine. Mm-hmm. And then a friend of mine that I was working for, he has like this little dojo in his basement. He's like, come down, work out. You could get rid of some aggression, because I was kind of a kid.
Were you an angry kid?
I don't know why. Not angry. Just a lot of pent up, because I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with it. It was awesome. And I just wanted to lose weight. I'm training maybe 2 weeks, and Louis Neglia calls. My trainer is like, do you have any girls for 135 for the Vanderbilt? And he turns to me and my best friend. We were both training. We were both about $160, $165. Fast, we're eating, we're doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it'll force me to do it. When? He's like, 4 weeks. I said, let's do it.
Weight cut time.
Except, but to get skinny. So I did it. I trained a month. It was the most horrific fight you would have ever seen. It was horrible. I think I only won because I sold more tickets.
Okay.
You don't realize how long 2 minutes is until you're fighting for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything. I mean, I tell people do something really strenuous for, because I come from a CrossFit background and stuff too. And people are like, they come out of the gate too hot. And I said, if you really want to understand what your capacity is, go red line for 30 seconds. See what that feels like.
It's world. I mean, I'm like, oh yeah, 2 minutes. Because I was always, growing up, I was always everybody's protector. So there was a problem. I was fighting for somebody else. So I'm like, yeah, okay, throw me in there. I got this. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I was done. I mean, that's how I just got in love with the push kick. Because when you're lazy, you pick it up, you push it, stay away. Give me like 10 seconds. And like I said, it was a horrible fight. At the end, my dad was like, look, if you really want to do this, let's do this the right way. I mean, you're half-assing it. You're going to start fighting people that are better. It's going to be bad. Let's do it. Let's do how you train for softball, and let's get you to that point. So
all in, yeah.
All in. So, and that night I got signed for my next fight. So again, all in. Next fight, I fought for a title, close fight, didn't win, but fell in love with it even more. That was in March. And then September 11th happened. So
so you came into this in like 2010 roughly.
2001.
Or 2001, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2001 roughly. And then, so go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just trying to get a timeline.
No, definitely. That makes me sound even way older. But
don't worry. I'm old. Trust me, I'm old.
Or fine wine. I think there's a little difference. I'm going with that. I laugh at people when they said that, but it's true.
Yeah.
So I lost my dad on 9/11. And for a couple of years, I was a dirtbag. I was giving myself a little self-pity. I did a lot of drugs, did a lot of drinking, gained a lot of weight, just didn't do anything. It was horrible. And then I know what happened. I just was like, at this point, I got to get my life together. My dad would not have wanted to be who I am right now. I'm not this person. So
you're kind of going in and out a little bit on your. Is there? Oh, okay, yeah. I get not the video, but the audio seems to be cutting in and out a little. So I just want to make sure that we.
Is that better? I'll hold.
Yeah, that's better. That's better. So you lost your dad on 9/11, and I mean that's a horrible, incredibly. How old were you at that time?
I was in my young 20s. I want to say 21, 22.
Okay. Yeah.
I was always a daddy's girl, so it just, it was a lot. So I decided, I go back to school, get my life back together. I started playing softball. Another thing my dad always wanted me to do, to be a college softball player. So I did that, completed that. I'm like, you know what? Let's just get back to fighting. I can do this. Do it the best I can.
I just lost you again. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it's cutting in and out. That's all right.
Is that better? I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It might just be because you're moving it around. I don't know, but it seems to kind of cut in it. Yeah, if you leave it down. Let's see what happens if you just leave it sitting still, and then all right, go ahead.
All right, I'm Italian. I can't stop moving.
It's all right.
And then I just decided, you know what? Screw it. I gotta get it. I gotta do what I know I can do, and he would want me to do. So I kind of just flipped it around and used it as my fuel to be the best I could be in this sport. That was it. I fell in love with it.
Yeah. So instead of, I mean, you let it kind of, and that's an incredibly tough thing to deal with. And people let them, that could beat you up and it could eat you up for your entire life, or you get to a certain point. Maybe, did you talk to anybody? Did you get any kind of guidance on that? Or did you just kind of get to a conclusion at some point and said, look, I'm going to go do something different because dad would have wanted me to?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I just had to get over the self-pity and just say, all right, it's time to man up. My dad's not here. I got to help my family pull it together. I owe that much to this man that gave me so much already. He was so selfless that day. He could have gotten out and he went back in to save somebody. So
true hero.
I found him carrying somebody. And the only reason we know this is his boss actually called us after years of therapy.
Yeah.
And had to tell my mom that he left him in the stairwell carrying somebody, and he made it out. So, I mean, the man that my dad is, going through something like that, you really can't get yourself down on anything else.
Oh, just jiggle your phone again or something, because it's I don't know why it keeps cutting out like that.
I'm not touching it. I wasn't moving. It wasn't me.
No, I know you weren't moving it. I just at first I thought maybe you were hitting covering it with your hand or something, but now it did it when you were it was sitting still. But I got most of that. Just there were a couple little spots where it was a little bit cutty, but that's all right. So your dad, was rescuing somebody else when he lost his life.
Right. So, I mean, that just kind of turned me around in every aspect of my life. I had to pull it together for my family and for myself. He wouldn't want to have died like that, and knowing that I'm gonna just, I had to do what was right.
Yeah. So you use that as inspiration, I guess, at this point in your life, and even at that point in your life. I mean, you kind of let it beat you up for a couple of years, it sounds like, and then you just kind of said, look, I got to get my shit together and do something different, and dad would have wanted me to. And then you went back into it, right? So now let's get back into your, so you went back in your next fight, or did you just go into camp, or how did that work out?
Actually, a local promoter was doing a 9/11 benefit for pay-per-view for the troops. So I was like, what better way to make my comeback fight than to do that? And it was amazing. And I fell in love with it, and that was it. I mean, I just kept going forward from there. And here I am now.
Yeah. So, and that was starting your amateur career, right? Or was that?
No, I had a pretty long amateur career. I never actually thought I was going to turn pro because, I'm pretty old at this point. So back then, there was. I'm just
saying that it's a mindset. It's a mindset.
Look, I'm picking up girls half my age, so I'm down with that. I'm just saying, back in the day, there weren't a lot of girls to fight. There wasn't a lot of pro kickboxers. So if I wanted to keep fighting, I had to stay amateur so I could be busy. There wasn't girls in the pro yet, so.
Yeah. So because that didn't really come around till what, 2010, 11, somewhere in that area where you started seeing girls doing professional kickboxing and I think Ronda Rousey and UFC kind of broke the ground there.
Yeah.
So now at this, I mean, so you start fighting, you're fighting pro, you go in, and now you also fought in Glory, which is a big deal. I mean, that's a huge deal, and at Madison Square Garden.
And a few times, I can't even tell you what that felt like. I mean, as a kickboxer, that's like reaching the UFC #1.
Yeah.
Like MMA fighter. So I'm reaching my pinnacle of my career. I was happy just fighting for Glory. Then to be at the Garden, I mean.
Yeah. No, it's so many legends have fought there. And it's one of my favorite places to cover an event. Like I did PFL World Championship there. So many cool events happen there, and it's just got such an energy to the Garden that I don't think any other arena in the world has.
It's a different feeling. It was really great experience for sure.
Yeah. So great. So what's next for you? What do you see coming up down the line here? I mean, are you planning another fight soon? Or I mean, you've had some title defenses, so I want to get into what you see coming down the future here.
I'm not really sure. I mean, retirement was supposed to be in the future just because it's what my family would like me to do at this point. And it's going to sound cheesy, but just like Rocky, if it's still in the basement, you got to keep going. So
yeah,
I would have to think the fact that I have one of the best trainers around in my corner. So he thinks I keep getting better. So with his confidence, it's kind of hard to stop. So
yeah.
I would like to think that I have at least one or two more for just a big title. Most people want to just go out. I want to go out and fight like a killer. Like this last fight I just had, that was a war. I've never been tired after a fight. I could usually fight 10 rounds. After that fight, I was shot. I want more of that. That's a great feeling to know you really fought for that title.
Leave it all out there, right? And then and there's nothing like in a competition or an event, and this is, I think, any sport in general, when an athlete comes out and they said, man, I did well and I left everything out there, and you come in and you're like, there's no greater feeling in the world for an athlete, I think.
One of my fights, I knew I just left everything out there. And after I went to the corner and Ray goes, look, decision or not, that was your best fight. You left it all out there. I don't care if you win, just leave it out there. Show them what you have. That's such an intense feeling and addictive for sure.
Was that your toughest fight? Because sometimes, maybe the one that you put out all the energy in isn't necessarily the toughest fight, but was that one your toughest, or was there one that was tougher than that, you think?
You know what? I was in ridiculous shape and everybody wanted me to lose that fight. So I fight so much better angry. It's crazy. Most people can't put emotions, but I'm a better fighter angry. And, their corner was trying to get in my head, which then in turn got me all fired up. And then it was I was the most relaxed. I think that's why. I was playing with her.
Yeah. And they got you pissed off.
I felt so good. It was like beating up your sister. It was like, oh, what are you trying to do? Nope, not happening. So
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. So when you're getting ready for, like, I want to get into what does a training day look like for you? What is it, because I think everybody has their own kind of way of getting ready for fights. And everybody goes into a camp and does their, weeks of training or months of training before a fight. What does that look like for you? Like, you sign a fight, what happens next?
Well, I literally train the same way the whole time, year round, 360 days a year. I mean, I work out 6 days a week, twice a day. But I also, as a full-time job, I do this as a hobby. This is not my career. Yeah. I have a regular 9-to-5 job. So I just bump it up the last 3 or 4 weeks. We just the intensity of the cardio and things in between. But Ray really is like the Mr. Miyagi of MMA. I mean, the stuff this guy comes up with is unbelievable.
Are you painting the fence and all that stuff at the?
He's pushing cars up and down the street. I mean, he gets his fighters and he pushes out the best of them. So that's why when you get to the fight, you're like, oh, this is nothing. This is only 9 minutes, 12 minutes. I'm good.
Yeah, well, and that's what they say. You train thousands of hours for what? Or is it?
Is 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. All right. Yeah. I apologize for because I spent a lot of time bouncing from sport to sport and doing a lot of stuff. And
I get it.
Ton of time in MMA, and I spent a lot of time in dealing with 5-minute rounds for some reason.
That's what it's eventually going to get to anyway. So I like it. The more that I do, better as the rounds go on anyway.
Yeah, there's fighters that really come out and explode in the beginning and then kind of die out later on. And then there's fighters that come out and they kind of just start finding a pace. They find their rhythm. They find their distance, right? You kind of gauge where your distance is going to be with the other fighter. I mean, so you're the type of fighter, I'm guessing, and from what you're telling me is that, the longer the fight goes, the more it's probably going to be in your wheelhouse. So.
Yeah, I would say my second and third rounds are always my best, and anything past that is even better. We spar so much that it just becomes second nature. I just like to feel out the first round. I came out one time, guns blazing, and I got dropped. First time I've ever been knocked out, and I was so relaxed. I had the best camp of my life. So,
just came out too hot, right?
Not too hot. The one time I did it, and I never do that ever. Everyone's always like, "Yeah, you came out guns blazing," and then I paid for it.
Well, you redlined. It's like we were talking about earlier. You come out redline, and what do you got left? Once you hit that certain spot, there's nothing to go back to. If you go at 80, 90%, you still have that other 10%, 20% to go to.
Right.
If you burn that out from the get-go.
Oh, no. And you know what's so funny? I mean, I've never, in how many fights I've had, never even got dropped. I was out. I don't even remember getting up, going into the back of the dressing room. So
you got rocked pretty good. I mean, yeah.
Good point. Like right on the side of my face. Oof. I definitely looked dead.
Yeah. Well, you see it all the time. I mean, constantly, actually, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen where, someone just gets that one shot and you just watch the knees buckle, the eyes go down and you basically, sometimes it takes a few minutes before someone even realizes what the hell happened. I can't tell you how many people I see get off the mat and go, what the hell just happened?
I mean, it's because I turned to my one corner. I said, Edwin, what just happened? He goes, just keep going, keep going. So, I mean, I didn't remember a thing. I turned, my hands dropped, there was my foot. So,
yeah.
Night.
Yeah, well, it happens. I think everybody has that. I mean, you can't fight forever without that happening.
Absolutely, I agree. It made me more, to be honest. It made me more, all right, I can't be lax. My hands have to be up. I got to go back to the basics. Can't get too comfortable.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: who's your favorite fight? Who, if outside of you and the people you train with, who do you think is the best fighter out there that you'd like to maybe fight with? Go out there and square off with, or just somebody you admire. It's an inspiration.
I gotta tell you, the first time I saw Gina Carano, I was in awe. She was in that sitcom. I don't know if you saw it, Fighter Girls. There was Felice was there. Carrie Vera, Miriam. There was a couple other ones. I forget. It was an old girl, Muay Thai, kind of like reality show.
Huh. I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't see that.
It was really cool, and I was just like, wow, this girl is ridiculous. And then I'm actually good friends with Kim Couture, so I went out there one year and trained with her. And learned a different style. And she was telling me about that Gina trained with a couple of people out there, and I got to train with Master Trotty's son, who was kind of cool, just the relevancy and kind of like interlocking of Gina Carano. So I would say that she kind of motivated me in the beginning. She was the first female that I was like, wow, I've never seen a girl, first of all, be so attractive and be able to kill somebody.
Well, I think, you see that now more and more. I mean, strong is the new beautiful, right? You could be strong and sexy and just be a straight up killer, straight up murderer out there.
I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's awesome. And, it's, because I think people sometimes look at that and they look at, you take, even female boxers, you go back a ways and people are like, oh, they must all be these big, huge, unattractive people. And they're not. There's a lot of people that are, especially now. You just see it all the time. You got, Ronda Rousey was, I think, one of the first ones that kind of come out there. And then you got Valentino Shevchenko. You got, just the list goes on and on of these dangerous women who are just tough as hell. And they would knock out most guys I know with no problem.
It's great to know, because growing up, there were no real girls around there. I sparred guys all the time.
Yeah.
It's so great to see. This generation is so lucky with all the women out there, for sure.
Well, it also made you tougher too, probably, because you had to fight with guys that are going to come back and, you're going to throw strikes and they're going to throw strikes and you're dealing with, their strength and your strength, and you're trying to figure out ways to kind of adjust your style to deal with that, right? And
I mean, they either treat you like a flower, like you're going to break, or you hit them, their ego is bruised, and then they try to kill you. So it's like...
What was that last piece? I
said it's an interesting mix for sure.
Yeah.
So it's 22 when you go in there with a guy for sure, but not at my gym. My gym is awesome.
Yeah. No, like I said, your gym has a great reputation. You guys are just phenomenal over there.
You got to come out and come get a lesson.
Yeah, I'll come check out the place. I mean, we got to get, I can't even I haven't rolled in like a month because.
And they're going to open it May 15th. Are you comfortable doing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I think so. I'd have to feel it out when it gets there. It's kind of like, they're going to open it up, hopefully. Like I said, we'll see. We'll see. They open it back up. But I hope they do, because I'm getting kind of stir crazy. But I also see what this can do to people. So it's, I think, on one hand, we want this to, we want everything to open back up again. But on the other hand is if we open it up too early, you're going to kill a lot of people.
That's the scary part.
Yeah. And nobody wants that. So, and you also have these protesters out there and everybody going crazy now. So it's like, the longer we do this, it's going to get bad. But if we open up too early, it's going to get bad. So it's kind of like you got two pieces of the two bad decisions you can make.
I know. Scary. It really is.
So you train twice a day, you said, right? You cut, you do an AM, PM, or?
I do something in the morning before I go to work, and then I have Ray right after work. I head right there, and we train for about 2 hours.
Okay, so you do probably a cardio in the morning, right? A lot of times that's what, I know that's what my training used to be that.
Yeah, just to get your body going super early, even with the weight cut. It's really good with the weight cut. Yeah. Because I used to do them. I used to train with a company called OPEX Fitness when I was doing a lot of CrossFit stuff. And, they would have me do like an AM row for like an hour. You get up and just boring as hell. Keep your heart rate in zone 1. Just don't come out of zone 1 and just sit there and row for an hour. I hate rowing. Rowing is my nemesis. It's awful. It's awful. I don't sitting on me. What's that? I feel like someone sits on my chest every time I do it. Well, yeah, it's there's a technique to it, and it makes it, once you get it a little bit, it's a little easier. But like I said, and the more you do it, it's like anything. The more you do it, the easier it gets. But most people hate rowing. I don't know if I hate that more than that or the assault bike. The assault bike's pretty awful too. I don't know if you've ever been on one of those, but I'm telling you, that's why the fight is so much easier. Well, yeah, because your cardio's through the damn roof by the time you get there, because you're like, you know what? And then, you get in there and you throw a couple strikes and, you start to feel it out, and then you get to that pace. And, that's what I love. That's, I think, the best. I mean, there's a moment in every fight, I think, for a fighter where you find your rhythm, right? Absolutely. I always, I believe that wholeheartedly. You find your rhythm. And once you find that rhythm, you're kind of like, okay, because there's always that nerves, right? I think even, anyone, you've had, 30 some odd fights, right? Yeah. At least in your career. I'm sure you still get nervous, right? Walking in the ring, right? All the time. I mean, one time, not too long ago, I guess I heard my opponent warming up, and she sounded like a 500-pound gorilla. I heard in my corner, I'm like, I'm not going out there. He goes, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not going out there. Do you hear that? He's like, Jenny, just go. You're fine. It's just you can get in your head so quick. I mean, it takes 2 seconds, and you already have so many scenarios in your head. You're screwed. Oh, yeah. If you start playing that, let somebody rent that space in your head for a minute, you could start beating yourself. You'll beat yourself. The only person you're competing against is you. 100%. Mindset is everything. You can get in great shape and everything, but if you're not squared away up top, it doesn't even matter. You won't be there. Well, yeah, you could be a better fighter and still lose because you just got psyched out, You should do that. Get a tape of some really intense stuff going on and just play that. Right before. Right before. Just like you're like shake the whole building and No, my best friend fights Edwin, and he's very protective of me. So right before he fights, I'm like, your corner just pushed me and pulled me a bitch. I've said that to him almost every fight. He falls for it every time, and he takes it out on the. You know what I mean? Mindset.
That's great. That's awesome. Oh man. So is there anything else you think we didn't cover? I mean, we talked about your getting started. I mean, this is great. I love doing, the whole kind of getting a whole picture, a profile of a fighter, profile of anybody I have on, actually. I had a lot of people on. I had James Gonzalez. I don't know if you've seen James fight, but James is pretty intense, too.
James is very intense. Very, very. That was a great fight.
Oh, with him and Pat Sabatini?
Yeah. Because he was supposed to lose that fight. No one thought he was going to win that fight.
He took that fight on 6 days' notice. 6 days. 6 days. And cut, I think, 16 pounds in like 6 days? And then busted his arm up.
But like you said, it's all mindset, right? He said, whatever, I have nothing to lose. Let me just go in there.
Yeah. No, he came in with some, he's a super high level jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, you know that. I mean, he's been doing that forever, and his, he trains with some amazing people too. And, when Pat had him in that, he just kind of did this scissor lock over the arm and boom, got him in the triangle. And
that was it.
It was a great fight. It wasn't very long, but I think it was the first round that happened. But, Pat's a great fighter too.
Tough as nails to go through that. He didn't want to tap. He didn't want that over.
He didn't tap. His arm was hanging.
That's intense.
His arm was hanging there and he didn't tap. Now, I would have tapped. I'd have been like, you know what, you got, because I doing jiu-jitsu for the period of time that I've been doing it. I could always tell when I'm in a situation that this isn't going to be good. So I'll just tap before my arm gets snapped off or something, be done with it. But yeah, he's tough as nails, but the way he had him, his knee, if you look at that tape again, his hand was on his knee and the other arm was locked up and James had his other arm and there's no way he could have tapped because if he would have let this other hand go, that arm would have been even worse probably because the whole weight would have been pulled on it. That
was so crazy to see.
Yeah, no, it was that video got so many views. I can't even tell you.
So many views. I mean, rightfully so. That was intense.
Oh yeah, and James is such a cool guy. I mean, he came on the show and he was just like so humble and just like, look, guys, I was calling him champ and I think he was uncomfortable being called champ. I'm like,
he's such a good guy. I mean, we have so many good guys over by us, and I think it all comes to the top.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, he comes from a great gym. You got a great gym over there. I mean, you guys, all kind of in that area. I don't know what you guys are getting fed over there or eating over there or drinking. Maybe it's in the water. I don't know, but there's some intense stuff happening over there.
The Nassau County water.
The Nassau County water. Maybe I got to come over and get some of that because I could sure use some days, man.
Good workout.
I cut my grass today and I needed to take a nap.
I'll send you some workouts.
Yeah, do that. I would love to come train with you guys and do some stuff down there.
Done. Come on out.
But I'll get my ass kicked. I guarantee it about it,
Yes, but you'll
all right.
after.
What's that?
You'll feel awesome afterwards. That's all that matters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it'll be fun. It'll be great. So
you got to keep work. That's why I'm going to send you workouts so you get a little there.
Oh, yeah, I'm still training. Hey, I put up a video of me training the other day doing some striking. Take a look at it, and you could tell me everything I'm doing wrong.
Enough workouts.
Awesome. Jenny. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you coming on Xtreme Lyfe, and this has been awesome.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm going to send you over those workouts.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.